After a full more day of teaching, we head back into the village of Bethany. We come out of the village, the next day we've come out of the village of Bethany again. Jesus is walking around teaching the people. And he starts lunch. Up until now, he's been fairly mild-mannered in his teaching. Now, if it was possible to make the Pharisees even angrier with him, he did. He said, "Woe with you Pharisees, hypocrites! For ye are like whitewashed graves. Outside you're nice and pretty, but inside you're full of corruption and dead men's bones." He began to criticize the Pharisees, laying out how everywhere they had fallen. The Pharisees had created a religion of rules and neglected to serve God. So Jesus showed how the true path to righteousness was not by following the Pharisees, not following a religion of rules, but rather by following Jesus, following what's right, serving Him with your heart, not just with your actions. The Pharisees begin actively plotting. They're looking for a way to get Jesus. They want Him dead. He goes back. He spends another day teaching them what's coming. But that's another story altogether. Then He tells us, "My day is coming. The time is coming when the Son of Man," that's what Jesus said about Himself, "the time is coming when the Son of Man shall be cut off from the people." Most of us didn't fully understand what He was saying. Peter, he had a good idea that Jesus was saying he was about to be killed. Peter was not about to have it. So Peter took himself a dagger and started carrying himself a short sword everywhere he went. We find that the day has come. Thursday, Passover has arrived. Jesus has asked John Mark and James, John, and Peter to prepare for it. He's told them what we need. We found an upper room where we can stay and celebrate the Passover feast. That we may celebrate when the death angel passed over. We marked our houses with blood to celebrate it. This day we celebrate by having a feast where we eat the lamb. We eat the dinner we ate before we left. This lamb that spent the day with the children, the week with the children. They've come to love this lamb. Now fathers all over are taking the lamb out and slaughtering it. Preparing to cook it. We've headed up to this feast. Judas, he has decided to betray Jesus, though we didn't know that. Judas, he comes up to the feast with us. And there, we gather. We celebrate the Passover. As we're sitting down to eat, Jesus says, "Tonight, one of you is going to betray me." All of us begin to ask him, "Master, is it I? Am I going to be the one doing it?" We couldn't figure out how any one of us would think of betraying Jesus. I mean, I knew I would in no way betray Jesus, my Lord, my King, my God. But we all begin to ask him, "Master, is it I? Jesus, will I be the one?" Jesus said, as he's dipping his bread into a particular dish, "The person who dips his bread into this gravy with me, he'll betray me." As he did this, Judas had dipped his bread in. Jesus then told Judas, "Whatever thou doest, do it quickly." At that time, we thought Judas was going out to get more supplies, because Judas carried money. Judas left. We didn't know he had gone to the Pharisees and to betray Jesus for the price of a common slave, for half that price. A common slave sold for 30 pieces of silver. Judas sold it for 15. Half the price of a slave. That was what Jesus was worth to him. Jesus then, after Judas has left, took bread and broke it. He passed it out to us. "Here, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. Eat this bread in remembrance of me." He passed out a cup. "Here, drink this wine. This juice is my blood. This juice represents my blood. Drink ye all of it in remembrance of me." We were wondering what he was doing by this. He was obviously sorry, but we couldn't understand why. Then we went out to the Garden of Gethsemane, a garden just outside the city. Jesus asked most of us to stay and watch and pray with Him. Stay awake and watch out for Him. And he took Peter, James, and John with Him. He took James, John, Peter, and Peter's brother. The four of them went a little bit farther. And He asked them to watch. Andrew, Peter, James, and John. It grew late. We were watching. But we started to get tired and not off. Rest. It's late at night. After about an hour or so, we've nodded off asleep. Jesus comes out. What? Couldn't you watch with me just 1 hour? Can't you stay awake just a little bit longer? Behold, the hour of temptation is upon us, that shall try men's souls. Can't you stay awake with me? We were ashamed and resolved. We were all ashamed. I resolved I was going to stay awake. I made sure I had nothing to lean against. Standing up. But it wasn't long. We started all fall asleep again. Once more Jesus comes out and wakes us up. Can't you stay awake with me just a little bit longer? We can see Jesus is obviously going through an ordeal. He's sweating drops of blood on his skin. He's praying so hard in such agony. We don't know what's going on, but we know it must be something great. For God Himself, come down dwelling in human flesh, God Himself who became a man for us. He goes back to pray one more time. As He prays, we fall asleep again. This time when He comes back, sleep. For the time has come. Then we're all wakened by a sound of armor clanking around. As soldiers are coming, lit with torches. Judas! Judas! He leads them. He comes up to Jesus and kisses him on the cheek as he would a friend, to let the Romans know who to take. They come after him. Are you the one we see? I am. With this, Jesus unveils Himself for once. Reveals the full glory as He reveals His name. I am was His name. The name of Jehovah, the self-existent one. The name of God. I am has sent me, was what God told Moses to say. I am had come. The soldiers fall back, astounded. Once more Jesus asks them, who are you here for? They say, we're here for Jesus. Take me then. It is I. Leave my followers. The soldiers come to arrest Jesus. Peter whips out his sword and swings at one of the servants. The servant flinches, and the blow that would have split his skull chops his ear off. Peter, put up your sword. Jesus reaches down, picks up the ear, and puts it on the priest's servant, healing it as if it never been cut off. Peter, if I didn't want to die, if I did not want to go through with this, don't you realize that my Father would send more than 12 legions of angels? More than 60,000 soldiers? More than 60,000 angels to save me? If I wasn't ready? He then went with the soldiers willingly, like a lamb is led to the slaughter. They led him to a trial where they had lying witnesses. These witnesses lied but were confounded. They could not agree on their story. Finally, in violation of every law they had, they began to ask Jesus to testify. Tell us, who are you? Jesus responded, I am. He told them who He was. They would not acknowledge Him. They refused to acknowledge that He was God Himself. For it didn't fit their preconceived notions. It didn't fit their plans. It didn't fit their man-made religion.